right, so James Comey is preparing for yet another moment in the spotlight. Just as we predicted, the disgraced former FBI director is just weeks away from a big media blitz, of course, promoting himself and his brand new tell-all book. You might remember this. Comey will get a multi-million-dollar book deal, a movie, a miniseries, primetime special, Diane Sawyer, well, maybe even George Stephanopoulos. Why not go totally in for the Clintons? He wants to be booked on Rachel Maddow, Steve Colbert, Bill Maher, the biggest Trump haters in the country. I was more right than I knew. The man who had put the fix in, rigged the Clinton investigation, got fired from the FBI, and leaked potentially classified information in order to trigger a special counsel investigation. Yeah, he's now getting ready for the biggest audition of his life, and that, of course, he will become the next darling of the mainstream media. Now, we'll discuss this and more in tonight's mini monologue. All right, it's the moment we all knew would happen. James Comey has finished writing his book and is now ready to cash in on his anti-Trump infamy. Now, naturally, the first stop on his upcoming mainstream media world tour will include a morning interview with former Clinton hack turned ABC so-called journalist George Stephanopoulos. Now, of course, he's the Clintons' BFF, and another with professional late-night Trump hater Stephen Colbert. Oh, easy interviews. Let's just say the mainstream media can barely contain their excitement. Watch this.
James Comey, for the first time since being fired by President Trump, is ready to talk. Nothing's off limits. Stephanopoulos, Comey.
I'm also really excited because I just found out, is this true? What's the date? April 17th, my guest sitting in that chair will be former FBI Director James Comey. Woo! Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I said, woo!
All right, given that unrestrained glee over an upcoming interview, can you really expect Stephanopoulos, Steve Colbert, and others to ask the tough, the important questions that you, the American people, deserve answers to? For example, is Colbert and Stephanopoulos, are they going to ask Comey why he never investigated Hillary Clinton's lies, you know, the exoneration before investigation? Will the so-called journalists over at ABC ask Comey how a seasoned, independent FBI director was actually bullied into calling the Clinton criminal investigation a, quote, matter during the 2016 election? Is Colbert going to press Comey on why he looked the other way when Bill Clinton, Loretta Lynch, remember they held that secret meeting on the tarmac just days before the FBI decided not to recommend charges against Hillary Clinton when we know she committed felonies? Is Comey going to be forced to discuss why a draft statement that he was writing months before interviewing Hillary Clinton, exonerating her on charges in the email investigation, why was it written so many months in advance before the interview? Is Comey going to explain the lies, the outright lies, the outright omissions to a FISA court? And then, of course, in January, Comey told President-elect Trump about his unverified, salacious dossier. But months earlier, he allowed the unverified, salacious dossier to be presented to the FISA. Clinton paid for the dirty dossier. Will the mainstream media actually address Comey's potentially unlawful leaking of classified information after he was fired? Now, I doubt those important issues will be pressed or even seriously addressed. Instead, I think Comey, he just might find that the career he's always been dreaming of in front of a camera with, of course, some of his anti-Trump friends, and he wants to get hired to bash Trump every single day, like the rest of the media. Now, with that said, James Comey, you want to have a sit-down interview? You want to come and discuss your book? You want to discuss the questions that need to be answered that millions of Americans want to hear answers to? Come on the program. I'm offering you the full hour. I'll offer you 3 hours, unprecedented, on my radio show. You just have to be willing to address every issue. Here with reaction, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, former congressman and Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. There's so many issues here, Greg, if I can start with, he's the guy that put the fix in. We now know this is not in dispute anymore. He was exonerating before investigating. He told Trump in January 2017 it's an unverified and salacious dossier, but he allowed the same dossier to be used as the bulk of information for the FISA warrant against Carter Page and the Trump campaign. Is he in legal jeopardy?
Oh, he's in a lot of legal jeopardy. This is a guy who failed to uphold the law and lacked integrity. Those are the direct words of the Department of Justice when they recommended that he be fired. Let me just read one line from Rod Rosenstein, who wrote the memo on the findings. And remember, he was the protege of James Comey, told Congress that. He said, I cannot defend the director's handling of the conclusion of the investigation of Secretary Clinton's emails. I do not understand his refusal to accept the nearly universal judgment that he was mistaken. And then Rosenstein went on to quote from 6 different attorney generals and deputy attorney generals who said that Comey had usurped the power of the attorney general, abused his own powers, and broken a myriad of rules. He was in a lot of trouble.
The FISA law, correct me, former congressman, recovering congressman, Jason Chaffetz, doesn't the FISA law require that the FBI verify, corroborate? Don't their own protocols call for that before they go before a FISA judge?
They're internal rules, the law, this requires it. It's crystal clear. And it's a one-way court. It's a secretive court. There's only one presentation. And so the necessity to be fair, to be complete, to lay out all the facts, they went to a greater length to disguise it than they would have Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee paid for it.
All right, so if you're James Comey's lawyer, Greg Jarrett, you happen to be a great lawyer. You do more research than anybody I know. You are writing a book on this case. You're up to your eyeballs in this every day. If you're James Comey's lawyer and he's writing this book, how closely are you going through this? And is there a great risk in these interviews for him that he's not thinking about right now as he dreams of fame and fortune and a position on MSNBC Conspiracy Theory TV?
Comey will try to massage the facts and try to rationalize his behavior, but if I'm his lawyer, I got to be really worried because he's looking at potentially theft of government documents, perjury, obstruction of justice, abuse of power, and probably 3 or 4 other different felony statutes.
And why would any lawyer let him do? Why would a good lawyer allow this?
Well, because the lawyer wants to be paid, and he better hope that Comey makes a load of money off the book because his legal fees are going to be steep.
You know, there's one thing I've noticed, Congressman, is that I watch his Twitter occasionally. He's so arrogant. He thinks he's so holier than thou. And I'm like, you rigged an investigation. You allowed people to judge. You never told the judges that it was Hillary Clinton bought and paid for. You told Trump one thing 3 months after you used it to get the FISA warrant. You know, I'm not a lawyer, but I would say he's in serious jeopardy, and I don't care what Stephanopoulos or Colbert ask him.
Yeah, he's going to get some tough questions from Stephen Colbert. I'm sure those will be hard-hitting questions. He does have a degree of arrogance. He would typically, when he came and testified before Congress, he liked to do it without notes. He would try to hit that 5-minute timeline just as he could. But, you know, there's so many things that he didn't do. And even when we asked him questions there under oath, he was not candid about those. Did
he lie?
Yeah. Well, listen, there was a point right after when he let Hillary Clinton go, when I asked him if he looked at the questioning under oath, when Hillary Clinton was under oath from Jim Jordan and the Benghazi Committee, did he lie or did she lie or not? Didn't even look at it. Didn't even consider that.
Unbelievable. All right, guys, great analysis. Appreciate it. All right.